Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening. A little bit past, or right at 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And hold on one second. Let me drop this here. There we go. All righty. So I'm not ready. Sorry. A little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. So happy to have you with me this evening. And you guys have been throwing a lot of stuff at me. And I've been thinking to myself, do I want to keep doing these reaction shows? And the answer is yes. I want to keep doing these reaction shows because they're actually pretty good. You guys do send me a lot of good ideas. Sometimes I have too much I've got to get to, but also it keeps you guys involved with me directly, which I like. And sometimes we get some good conversations. And to be forward, sometimes the news is just depressing or boring. So we don't have to just do news, right? We don't have to. So this is even better. Today actually it happened today, it's a couple days ago. I got a very recent, I think it was yesterday, video from a guy who I know named John Stossel. Now, some of you may know John Stossel. He used to do a lot of kind of investigative reporting back in the day. And he still does some of that now. He works more with people like Reason Magazine and stuff like that. And he does his own thing too. He's here in New York. And he interviewed me when I ran for governor in 2018. So I do know him. We've met before. And he does a lot of cool things. And one of the things he did was a recent video on school choice. Now, you might say, well, Larry, this seems obvious. Right? I mean, you're for school choice, right? Maybe. What? Maybe. Well, he talks about different issues and aspects of it, which a lot of people don't think. It isn't as simple as one might think. Many of you who know what I've talked about different plans for education, and they don't always include the same thing that he talks about. So he talks about a lot of good stuff, and I kind of want to bring it up, and I actually want to show you his video. It's a short video. But it is a video that's very interesting, and I think that you will enjoy. Let me go ahead and pop this up here if I could. All righty. Do I have audio? I do. This is him, John Stossel.
Voice has come to Texas.
Texas recently became the 16th state to help parents choose which school their kids attend.
Yep.
South Carolina followed a few days later. This is a good thing.
Popular.
Competition improves services. The post office couldn't get it there overnight. Then FedEx appeared, and suddenly the post office improved its speed.
Well, that is correct. However, there's a little bit more to it. The post office did improve, but one of the reasons why the post office included is one of the post office's largest customers is FedEx. Yes. So when FedEx can't make it, they use the post office. Another large client of the post office is Amazon. Yes. In fact, if you get a mail delivery on Sunday, that's not U.S. mail. That's Amazon. They made a separate day. The post office did just for Amazon. So Sunday deliveries from the post office are all Amazon deliveries. I know it sounds weird, but that's true. So they literally added that piece. So yes, he's correct, but also, it's also because now they get more money too. So it's both.
It's not as good as the private companies, but still, they got better. Consumer choice is a big reason capitalist countries outperform socialist ones.
Well, that made some of you angry. I know some of you guys don't want capitalism, so that made some of you angry.
But in most of America, parents have little or no choice when it comes to which school their kids attend.
Except the wealthy. And that's what you will keep hearing me talk about. Many times when it comes to all the things that people say should be a right, which I hear always, things like schools, housing, healthcare, all those things. Do the wealthy use the government programs? No. They always use a private program. Why? Well, because they're rich. Yes, true, because they're rich, but they're rich so they want to get the best they can get, and they usually don't go to local schools. I mean, sometimes, but they usually don't. I'll explain that in a second, though. But that's the key piece.
Bureaucrats decide based on where you live.
True.
Live in a poor neighborhood with a lousy school? Too bad. You're stuck. And in trouble if you try to sneak your child into a good school.
One Ohio mom is currently sitting in jail, accused of illegally trying to get her daughters into a better school district.
This night,
Think about that. So a mom tried to get her daughter into a new school district. And district attorney thought, you know what the right answer is? Arrest that mom. What a piece of garbage district attorney. What a piece of garbage governor. What a piece of garbage system that you would think the right answer is arrest her. So you have a mother who cares about her kid. And there are mothers out there who don't. Don't arrest those. Arrest the one who cares enough to scam the system to get her kid in a better school. Now, you're saying, well, Larry, you can't have her go to school. Great, then throw her kid out of the school district. I'm not saying that you could just let everyone break all the rules. I mean, I think so, but I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, I got it. You've got a system you've got to protect. Okay, throw the kid out. Maybe give her a fine or something if you really want to be a jerk about it. Fine. But no. She has to go to prison. Why? Her crime, you would say, Larry, is that really a crime? I mean, she actually wanted to help her kid. Yes, but her crime was the worst of all crimes. Her crime was sacrilege. It was going against the system. Remember, heresy and sacrilege are the worst crimes. Far worse than murder. I mean, it's not even close. Far worse than robbery. Far worse. Heresy and sacrilege against the religion known as government is the highest of all crimes. She did that. How dare her? You got to go to jail. That's how that works. That's how they think. I wish I was joking. But it gets worse.
a reporter parrots the government's spin.
Prosecutors say a private investigator even caught her red-handed on video living in the wrong district.
Caught her red-handed living in the wrong district. How evil is she? What? She is super evil. So how many people should she kill? None. How many she rob? None. How many does she beat bloody with like a bat or something? None. Wow. Okay, so how many people's money did she steal? Like she was a big embezzler. She stole millions, right? No. Well, what did she do? She lived red-handed in the wrong district so her kid could go to a better school. Did we execute her on the spot? I hope someone shot her immediately. I hope that's what happened. I mean, that's the worst of all crimes. Yeah, and look at this, loser right now going, and she was caught. Oh, how dare her? Yes, instead of being, what is wrong with us?
The wrong district?
She was cheating, getting a quality education for her daughters without paying the right taxes.
What? Is she still alive? I hope they killed her. I mean, she got a quality education for her kid without paying the right taxes. You thought I was joking when I said her crime is sacrilege. That's her crime. I wasn't kidding. That was her crime. Sacrilege. How dare you go against the system? You have to pay. I'm surprised they didn't just execute her immediately. I'm surprised they didn't just pull her right out, pull out a firearm, and just end her right there. Right? I'm surprised. But okay, they want to give her some kind of due process. And then, of course, up here, we'll just go ahead and do that. And Grace pulls out the phrase of the evening so far, which is another black person jailed over BS charges. True. And we just make them up. There we go. I love it.
At least the anchor understands.
People do it because they're just trying to get their kid a better education.
Right. But teachers' unions and government school bureaucrats don't.
You think teachers' unions and governments care about your kids' education? That's funny that you would think that they don't care about that. Your kids mean nothing to them. And I say that publicly to anyone who wants, your kids mean nothing to them. They are just in the way. Like, why are these kids in the way? They're just in the way. They don't care about your kids at all. Not even close. Your kids just are in the way. They're a pain in the ass.
Want parents to have choices. They don't want the competition.
Correct. And of course, this is back then, and they were using shaming language. This is like the 90s or 2000s, whenever it was. But they were using shaming language back then. That's all they ever have. Shame, shame. Finally, so many Americans are like, I'm done being shamed. That's your shaming doesn't work on me anymore. I'm done. There they were. Shame on you. Shame on you. I want my kid to get a good education. Shame on me. How about shame on you for literally being out here doing this, knowing that my kid's screwed?
Years ago, New York City's teachers union came to my ABC office to shout shame on you at me.
We are here to demand an apology from 2020's John Stossel.
I had done a primetime special called
Stupid in America.
Yeah, I remember.
Cheat our kids.
My report showed how some other countries let kids choose their school.
How dare these countries do this?
Giving kids a choice forces schools to try harder.
You have to be innovative. So if we don't succeed, we just run out of business.
But
Wait a minute. Did you hear what that Belgian teacher said? She said, if we don't succeed, we go out of business. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. That would mean that if you fail, there's repercussions if you fail. Right now in America, if your school's failing, what do? You get more money. Again, I wish I was joking. You literally get more money. She's like, if we fail, we go out of business. America's like, we fail, they write us bigger checks. How do I know that? New York State, $35,000 per kid. And I did a whole show on this, on how low we are in education. Yeah. $35,000 per kid, and we rank mediocre. So there we go.
American teachers said,
competition is not for children. It's not for human beings. It's not.
See, competition is not for human beings. What's wrong with you people? She says that. It's not for human beings. You guys think competition is for human beings. It's for trees. I'm not for human beings, though. Glad she's teaching. Competition. Acts like sports a thing. Sports is not a thing. It's not for humans. There's no human beings in sports. You should know that. God, you're a teacher. You gotta know that. You see, she's a teacher. See, Matt, you're acting like you know everything about human beings and sports and competition. You don't. You're not a teacher. You have a teaching degree. You don't. She knows. Sports competition, that's not for humans. She just said it. What's wrong with you people?
Not for public education.
I confronted union boss Randy Wine.
Right? Randy Weinstein is one of the worst human beings on the planet. She is such a horrible human being, just a bad person. She's just terrible. God.
Weingarten about how hard it is to fire even a very bad teacher.
Yes.
She smugly replied,
we'll police our own profession.
See that? We'll just police our own profession. We don't need you gracing your uppiness, thinking you know something. Like your kid matters. Okay, let me tell you something. The teachers will police their own profession. They don't need parents caring about their kids. She just said it. Didn't care. Don't need you. Tell you what, let's let the bankers police themselves. What could go wrong? The cops will police themselves. What could go wrong? I love that teachers police themselves. What could go wrong? I love all those. We should police our own profession. Nothing could go wrong ever. And you know what's even better? Let's let the politicians police themselves too. Oh, wait, we do that already. Yeah, and think what we got. We do that already. Yes. So they would sort of follow politicians and police themselves. Makes total sense. I love it.
The union does allow a school to fire a bad teacher. She says you just have to follow the steps.
See, you just follow the steps, you people. You act like they're policing themselves. You just follow these simple steps. Hold on, mommy. Okay. You got to look ready. Okay. It's simple. It's just one page of steps. I don't know what's wrong with you.
But look at these. It's unbelievably complicated.
A little bit longer.
And
little bit.
long. And this is just the first page. I have to
more
stand
pages.
up to show the whole thing. This is what a principal would have to go through.
See, it's not that bad, right? It's just 8 pages. God, people.
To fire a bad teacher. No wonder some kids are taught.
Says teacher drunk at work keeps job. The norm. The norm. There's literally, again, literally not making this up, gyms in New York City filled with teachers who they can't fire, but they're too bad to put in front of kids. So they have them sit in the gym all day and get paid. I'm not making that up. They sit in the gym. We pay for them because we can't fire them, but we can't put them in front of kids. So we pay them to sit in the gym all day. I mean, look, good work if you can get it. Like, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? If they could pay me to sit in the gym all day and pay me, I get it, right? I'd be happy to take that check. But we probably shouldn't be doing that.
Not by horrible teachers. The union protesters made a proposal to me.
So just teach for a week.
She said if I tried teaching,
I have. I was teacher for years. 4 of them. I was teacher for 4 years.
I'd report how hard the job is.
Yes.
The crowd liked that.
Look, teaching is a hard job. I'm not saying it isn't. It is, particularly with young kids, particularly with, to be forward, the toughest kids are actually middle school. And you might say, why is middle school the worst? If you work with kids, you'll understand what I'm saying. If you don't, you may not. When kids are in elementary school, generally speaking, they know their kids. They're acting like kids. They know their kids. When kids are in high school, generally speaking, again, this is I'm painting with a broad brush. Generally speaking, the kids are trying to become adults. When they're in middle school, they don't know what they're doing, and some are growing fast than others, and some are very immature, and some are more mature. It is all over the place. Middle school's the toughest. That's the toughest to deal with, like the 12, 13, 14, like that area. Oh, that's the hardest to teach. The kids are in a worse spot. It's a tough spot to teach. So I agree. But what makes teaching the hardest isn't the kids. That's challenging and tough. But the hardest is the administrators. That's what makes it tougher. The Randy Weingartens or whatever the hell her name is. And those people are the worst. They make it worse.
But when I said, okay, I'll teach, she changed her mind and said,
of course.
No, you can't.
You can't. I will stop you. Yes. This, by the way, is Cordy Anglis. He's a friend of mine. Great guy. He actually was part of my policy team. So yeah, met him many times at Freedom Fest. Great guy, knows his stuff.
They don't want people to be able to take their kids somewhere else because they know that they're failing your children.
Education researcher Corey DeAngelis says the best way to help kids is to give parents a choice.
Money doesn't belong to the government schools.
See, yeah, you're wrong on that one, Corey. He says the mind doesn't belong to government schools. Okay. You have to add the word shouldn't in that sentence, then you'd be correct, right? The mind shouldn't belong to government schools. It kind of does. And that's the sad part. And that's why you're fighting. That's why I'm fighting, because it does. And it shouldn't. That's the key. It really shouldn't. Sadly, for most people, it does. And most parents happily hand it over. Here you go. Take it. Just take it. We don't mind. Take it all. All good. All good.
Education funding is supposed to be meant for educating children, not for propping up and protecting a particular institution.
When was that true? I don't think that's true. Again, I love where his head is. Like, that's what's supposed to be. True. What is it made for? To prop up institutions. That's literally to protect institutions. That's what our entire system does, right? The entire system does that. I agree with what should happen. It's not what's happening at all. So if you like Corey, and I know you do, and you like me, I know you do because you're still watching, click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Yes, that button, the like one. Do that right now. If you don't do it, you love the teachers union. Take that. You do. If you didn't click it, you like it. You love it, in fact. If you click the like button, then you don't, and you like me more. See? You like Randy Weingarten more than me if you don't click the like button. I don't make the rules. I just enforce. Actually, I do make them. I make them and I enforce them. I both. Yes, all of the. I'm an autocrat. I do all the things. So do it. And please, as an autocrat, please share or repost this. It's important. If you share it someplace, repost it. It makes Mr. Rhythm, Algo, it makes him go, oh, this must be good. And I want to stop banning Larry, the shadow type, and I want people to see his stuff. You can also follow me again on Facebook, X, and Rumble. If you have not gone to Rumble yet, please do so. Check out Larry Sharpe and follow me so I can go to 500. That would be great. If you have not subscribed on Sharpe or YouTube, why do you hate the children? Stop hating children. Go to Sharpe Way YouTube, click subscribe, and when you click subscribe, make sure you click the all notifications. And here's the thing, I found this out. You sometimes have to go back on again and click on all notifications again. YouTube decides to unsubscribe and unnotify you. I'm not kidding. If you're like, Larry, I didn't get a notification, go check, you got unnotified. YouTube does this on purpose. I don't know why, but they do it constantly, all the time. If you want your comment to go to the front, super chat me on YouTube. It's easy to do that. Super chat me on YouTube or rant me on Rumble. Either one, both works. If you want to become a member, membership is so important. I just sang it. That's how important it is. I'm singing it. That is how important membership is. You should do so if you can. $49 per month. Click that join button on Sharpe Way YouTube and come aboard. You get to send me stuff like this. That's what members do. And then I get to talk about this stuff. You do also Rumble if you want to. Click subscribe during the live on Rumble, and it also works. Any of those will work. But no matter what, please share or repost this if you can. Let me grab a couple of comments right now. If I could, I'll grab a couple. That Liberty Chick, it is good to see you. I'm glad you have popped up. Our public school experience has been so much better than private. MDOs, I'm not sure what MDOs are, daycares or preschools. Private MDOs, not sure what those are, but okay. Look, the reality of it is there are some public schools that work well, but that's why you've never heard me say destroy public schools. I haven't said that. And some people do say that. I say allow more choice so that if you're in a good public school district, keep it. I don't care. You do what's right for your kid, right? Here's the thing, Liberty Chick. What I believe completely is that the best chance for your kid to get the best education possible is going to come with your decisions. That's the best chance. Now, could you make a mistake? Well, we all could. Anyone's human. Could the system break for you? It's possible, of course. Nothing's perfect. But the best odds for your kid is going to be with you involved and you making decisions. That I guarantee every time. If I get a bet on somebody, I'm a betting the parent, right? Again, parent could screw up, but I'm going to bet in the parent without question. So yes. Oh, she covers it. Thank you. She says a Mother's Day out. Thank you. Okay. Didn't know what the MDOs. There we go. Mother's Day out. Thank you. And she goes on to say, I moved to a good district. Smart move. Now, by the way, in New York State, this is how dumb we are in New York State to protect our systems. When you use a realtor to buy a home, they can't talk to you about the school district. Yeah. Do you know how dumb that is? But that's true. It's against the law. Because we don't want people selecting homes because of school districts, because then everyone goes to a good school district. I'm not joking. That's literally a law in New York. Wow, that's stupid. And for many reasons. One, because of course that should matter. And number two, you just look online anyway. So it's insanely dumb. But they do it because that'll stop it. No, because again, the money is set to protect a particular institution. Not your kid. No one cares about your kid. I'm sorry, you do. The system doesn't care about your kid. That's for sure. So, yes. Ron, thank you for the $10, my friend. Relatives of mine in St. Louis and Chicago have similar horror stories about these teachers who are too bad for kids, but they can't fire them. They all blame the system, the teachers union. Well, they're correct. The teachers union is a disaster. And one of the reasons why it is because in almost all places, there's only one union. So you don't have choice even in unions. Not just that, to not be a union member is virtually impossible. There are ways of getting around it, but it's lawsuits. It's insane to not be a union member, right? But it's very hard. And then lastly, the teachers union is filled with administrators. They call themselves educators. I'm an educator. Educator. Yes, I'm an educator. So you teach kids? No, I I write, proposals for grants. You're a grant writer. I'm an educator. No, you're a grant writer. But you work in the field. You used to be a teacher at one point. You have your credentials, but you realize being a grant writer is easier work than being a teacher, and you make more money. And you become an administrator, and you just blame teachers for stuff. I get it. Why wouldn't you do that? So a chunk of our best teachers go, I'm done being a teacher because I don't want to deal with these administrators. So either I leave the field or I become an administrator. Either one. So now either way, I lost a good teacher because they don't want to teach anymore. Most of it's because of that situations like that. So thank you for that, Ryan. I appreciate that. Oh, gift of membership, guys. Matt, thank you for the one gift. I appreciate it. Phil also gave one. Thank you. These memberships, guys. Remember our rules of memberships? If you make $2 million per month or more, you may not take Phil's gifted membership. You may not take Matt's gifted membership if you make $2 million per month or more. If you make less than $2 million per month, 1.9 million, whatever, per month, take it. It's fine. If you actually make $2 million per month, just spend the $49. Why are you being cheap? You make $2 million per month. Stop. Do it. All right. Otherwise, you can take it. No worries. That's the rule. You guys know the rules. I don't want any of you $2 million a month guys. I know there's many of you out there taking these free gifts. Don't do that. It's wrong. Pay the $49. Okay. Any case, just thought you guys would enjoy that piece. So yes. All righty. Let me walk down this road if I could grab a couple more of these. All right. Kim says, thanks for being a member, Kim. One of two. Okay. In the beginning, I thought school choice to be a good idea. But on more consideration, it might not be the best way. We live in a bully world now. And sad part is the bullies are now also teachers. Also true. Principals, she goes on, teachers, principals, administrators, politicians, governors, and even the president. It's not a bad, I get your point. And this is a point I was going to bring up and I'll bring up later. Is school choice the best idea for schools? Not always. Sometimes it's better if you just do something very simple and like have money following the kid, period, and don't use vouchers. Depends. Voucher programs can be good and can be bad. Depends if is it a zero-sum game. Is the budget still the same way in your state? But with that in mind, I got to go to Mike. Mike's in the house, Mike Voss, and he says better than DOE. There's the other piece, right? Do I just go, you know what? Okay, this voucher system isn't great, but it's all I got. So I'm going to say yes. And I understand when people say that, Mike. I do. If you got a kid, you're like, my only shot is vouchers or nothing. Fine, I'll take vouchers. Like I could see a parent saying that, right? They can't afford to move. Lucky that Liberty Chick is able to move. Good for her. Well done. But what if you can't move or you're not in the right spot? Do you just say, all right, I'll take the voucher piece? I can understand it, but vouchers isn't always the best answer. So yes. So Lunatic says, I would like a slot in the next member show. All right, let me get it set up. We could thank you for $199, Lunatic. Thanks. So that is my issue that I've got to worry about. It's not always the right one, but yeah. Craig says, Corey DeAngelis was on with Jordan Peterson recently. Maybe time for him to make an appearance on Sharpe Way. I can ask Corey if he'll come on. He might do it, right? I've had him on before. If you check the old Sharpe Way shows, put in Larry Sharpe and Corey DeAngelis, I did have him on before. He's been a guest before. Again, I know him. He's a good guy. I meet him every year. He was on my policy team. Very savvy and very serious. Like this is his thing. This is his thing. Yes. So, Lunatic, thank you for being a member, says, greatest schools, in my humble opinion, the streets, military, jail and prison. Why would you want that to be? No, you were doing good till you did that one. No. Intermixed with classes of the dollar poor billionaire. Just take out the jail and prison part. And yes, no, don't do that part. Do the other ones. Not that one. Jail and prison. No. So, yes. Anyway, he goes on to say propaganda. True. That's true. Yes. All right. Let me keep going.
We should fund the student, not the system.
Then parents can take education funding to a charter school or even a private school.
Senate Bill 2 will give families $10,000.
And there's the issue, right? Charter schools versus private schools. And this is the point I think Kim was talking about versus what Mike was talking about. If my only option is a bad school district or a charter school or a voucher program, I get why somebody would say yes to that. I do. But it's not always the right answer. It depends upon, sorry, this is wrong. Let me say it the right way. It may not be the best answer. How about that? That's probably more accurate. It may not be the best answer, right?
$1,000 per student.
If you like your kids' public school, you can leave them there. That way, good schools get the money.
Yep.
And choice provides other advantages like fewer angry debates over what schools teach.
Yep.
Without choice, the school boards can just ignore you if you complain about something.
And they do always, constantly, just ignore you. They have public comment. You do it in New York City all the time. It's called public comment. And the public comments, and they ignore it. They go, thank you, thank you. Your job, and I'm not joking, they hire people to be the spokesperson. What that person's job is, again, I'm not making this up, is to be yelled at. That's their job. Here is money. Go to public areas, get yelled at, not a lot. Don't take it personally. Come home. Here's a check. That's how that works. Because you're not going to change anything. It does not matter what the parents say. So, and this goes for things like schools. It goes for bike lanes. It doesn't matter what it is, right? So I go to an area, we're going to put bike lanes in. Nobody wants the bike lanes, right? Nobody wants them. We don't want the bike lanes. I'm saying in this case, some people do, but I'm saying in this specific case, no one locally wants the bike lanes. And they're just going to yell at them. So the people from the city show up and the people yell, it's stupid. We're getting rid of our parking, blah, blah, blah. This is dumb. Nobody uses them. And they scream and yell and get mad. You guys get us up. And the person's job is to go, yes. Oh, thank you for that. Oh, thank you for that too. Oh, we hear you. I hear you. Sure. I'll take that up. Okay. Thank you. We're taking into advisement. Yes. And then they go home and get a check. They're not telling anybody anything. Nobody cares. Like what you said is irrelevant. No one's paying attention. Nobody cares. I wish they cared. And it's the same thing when it comes to these, boards. They come to a board and people go, you're wrong. Don't do this. And they go, whatever. Where are you going to go? No place to go. We run things. Nothing you can do. So yeah, that's how it works.
When you go and protest at the school board meetings and you don't have school choice, they try to bully and silence you into submission.
A mother of 3 was carried out of a Decatur school board meeting.
You have
a mother of 3. What's the right answer for a mother of 3 who cares deep about her kids' education? Jail. Jail. That's the answer. Why? What, Larry, why would you think this mother of 3 who's protesting the system should go to jail? Because sacrilege? Because heresy, the greatest of all crimes, the highest of all crimes. But she's got 3 kids she has to care about. And then maybe she shouldn't have been a heretic then, huh? Maybe she shouldn't have been a heretic. How about that? The system matters. All for the empire.
No agency. You have no power in that relationship.
None.
These parents are protesting for the right to opt their kids out of certain school lessons on gender and sexuality.
These conflicts rarely.
And this is a big deal. Like when I talk about school choice, particularly when I go upstate New York, a lot of people think, yeah, we have a school choice. We can stop them teaching about the gays and the transes and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, no, we don't want woke schools. Yeah, but some people do. Yeah, well, that's why I want you to be able to choose your school. I'm not trying to say you shouldn't have a woke school. I don't care. You want to teach about the gays and transes or whatever the person. I don't care. Good. If that's the school you want your kids in, please send your kids to that school. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to judge at all. Send your kids to the school you want. That Liberty chick, I don't know what school her kid's in, but she's happy in which it's a good school. I don't know what they're teaching. Let them teach whatever they want to teach. But you get to choose. So here's the difference. Right now, the student and the parent are not in any way, shape, or form the customer. The customer is the government who writes some checks. That's the customer. You aren't the customer. You're in the way. But when it's a private school or when you have school choice, all of a sudden you're the customer. So if you say, I don't want to talk about the gays and the transes, they won't. You go, no, I like it. Tell me all the things about them all or any combination. I don't care. And you can go to each school that you want, which, and there'll be the woke school and the unwoke school, whatever. I don't care. And I know what someone's going to say, but then Larry, there'll be like hardcore religious schools who teach only like religious hardcore stuff. And so what? They do it now. And if your parents think that, you're getting it anyway. What do I care? What do I care? So should we go in and stop the Amish from teaching their kids? No. The Amish teach their kids as they want to also. Okay. I'm not mad at them. It's not my kid. I don't have a right. Now, if I think what you're teaching is wrong, I would tell you if I thought so. I don't care about that kind of stuff. But I would tell you if I thought so. If you ask my opinion, if you're like, hey, Larry, I would like to know what you think I should teach my kid. If you care about my opinion that much, I will tell you. But unless you ask me, it's your kid. Good luck. I hope you do it right. That's the key. Yes. Ryan says, thank you for the $5, Ryan. Larry, people want to send their kids to bad schools for the greater glory of the empire. You're laughing, and so am I. However, for some people, that's true. In other words, they literally they're so worried about virtue signaling, they will literally sacrifice their kid. I've met people who like, I will only send my kid to a public school. I've heard people say that. So for most people who aren't completely brainwashed by the empire, they won't do that. But there are those who are absolutely brainwashed by the empire, and they will do whatever the empire tells them to do. These people are true believers that would never be heretics. See, they'll never be heretics, ever. Never. I wish I was making that up, but I've heard it more than once. I would never. I'd only do that. Yeah, correct. So, all righty. Let me keep going down here if I can.
Happen when there's choice, because parents can just choose another school.
Yes.
But the biggest benefit is that students with greater choice get a better education. Florida's math and reading scores were once among the bottom in the nation, but then they expanded choice.
Most recently, they were ranked #1 on the issue of education, and it's not a money issue. They spent.
And I want to make sure we're clear on this. I use Florida often as an example. Why? Because I compare it to New York. Now, Florida isn't perfect in any way, shape, or form. It's not. No doubt it's not. There's a big however, though. Demographically, they are very similar to New York. Probably the most similar to New York that there is. Meaning that percentage of minorities, percentage of old, they have a bit of an older population. So their population is a little bit older than New York. When it comes to age, I mean, not like they've been around longer, but age, right? And they have a little bit higher when it comes to minorities. Percentage of minorities is the same. White population versus minority population is pretty much the same, but they have a higher Hispanic than Black. We have higher Black than Hispanic, but very close still. They're a little bit older than us, but close. And they have almost the same population we have. Yet their budget is half ours. Let me say it again. Their budget is half. Demographically similar. Their budget is half. Number of people, more by about 1 million. Half the budget. Yes, that's crazy.
And about 27% less than the national average.
They spend 27% less than the national average, and New York State spends the most on the planet per kid. The most on the planet per kid. They spend 27% less than the national average, and they're better than us. In fact, they're #1. We're right in the middle.
And they're knocking it out of the park.
The Sunshine State, #1 for higher education.
Finally, when there's choice, government schools get better too. Just because a parent can leave, that makes the school better?
Only then will the school system have true incentives to cater to the needs of families and their.
Because only then does the family and the kids become the customer. When you're not the customer, you're just in the way. I'm looking over at Rumble, and Joel says, homeschool. True. I'm going to cover my ideas in this in a minute. But you're right. That's an important part too. Homeschooling is another piece, which is why I'm not just for vouchers. I think homeschooling has to be an option too. Private school, I don't know if I even like charter schools, to tell you the truth. I think I'd rather have private schools, public schools, homeschools. I'd rather have that route if I have a choice. I think I'd rather go that way if I could.
Children, as opposed to the other way around.
It's insane to take money away from those schools to give it to private schools.
See that? You mean people? God, Joel, why are you a jerk? You're stealing the money from the poor kids and giving it to the rich kids. That's what you're doing. God, you people. Shame you, Joel. You heard what she just said? Shame on you. They never stop shaming. They never stop. I don't have an argument at all So shame on you. That'll work. You're bad. That'll teach you. That's what just happened. Yes. You're taking money from the poor kids and giving to the rich kids because you're mean, Joel. I knew you were mean.
That's another misleading argument. Private schools take money from public schools.
Yeah, they
but
do.
It's not true.
What?
Most school vouchers are worth less than what the government schools spend.
That's true. Look at that. Average spent $19,000. Them's rookie numbers. I'm from New York, homeboy. Don't throw $20,000 at me per year. 35K, okay? King, we're top. New York number 1. 19K. It's like half what we spend. That's high school numbers. What's wrong with you? 19K. Program.
So when a student leaves, the government school is left with more money per student.
That's actually what happens, but that part's true, right? New York State spends $35,000 per year per student. They could easily do 18, easily. And I actually brought that up as my plan. $18,000 per kid, per student, per kid wherever they go, per year, plus a $6,000 credit that you could use if you want to go to private schools or if you want to homeschool. Changes the entire system overnight.
Traditional public schools financially benefit because they get to keep thousands of dollars for students they're no longer educating.
But media leftists still say schools don't have
He called her a media leftist. This woman must be one of those media leftists. I never heard that one before. Thanks, John. That's a new one. You damn media leftist people. That's you. I like that. So that's good. Sarah, become a member. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. Thank you for the membership. We do need it. Thank you so much for that. Yes. And this woman here coming up here is a media leftist. Yes. I like that.
Enough money.
They're underfunded. If we want our public schools to get better, you can't take money out of the system.
Okay. Every time I hear that, I want to vomit. Because that's when they always say, I say all the time, they're underfunded, need more funding. Utterly, demonstrably not true. Not even close. 100% false. Not true. That is shit they just made up. There is zero evidence that we're not funded enough. Let me repeat my numbers again for those of you who didn't hear it. $35,000 per student per year in New York State. That is not underfunded. That's not underfunded. If that's underfunded, what is Florida doing? When Florida's like 15,000. What is Florida doing? That's not underfunded. That's a lie that is made up. That's utterly not true. They say all the time, constantly. It is an utter lie. They say it all the time.
That's just ignorant. No one's taken money out of the system.
Not
Funding keeps rising.
The government schools in the United States now spend around $20,000 per student per year. That's about 60% higher than average private school tuition.
$20,000 per.
In New York State, the average private school is about $7,000 a year. We spend $35,000 per year. We spend 5 times the average private school. Don't get me wrong. Some private schools in New York City, specifically, the very wealthy ones are very expensive. I'm talking $20,000, $30,000 per year per student, right? These are like the super wealthy people go to those schools. I get it, right? Some of those, but the average one around, you can get into an average private school, $7,000 a year, $6,000 a year. Now, you may not be able to afford that. I'm not saying that you, or I don't know what your background is, what you care about. All I'm saying is, compared to 20, or worse, compared to 35,000, and you can get in for 7. Come on now.
Child. Where does that money go? A class of 20, that would be $400,000.
Yep.
How can they not do great work with that?
Absolutely.
You should be able to hire
$400,000. You should be able to get a whole lot done. So one classroom costs you $400,000. 20 kids, $400,000. You could build them a house. Like you could do whatever you wanted. Yeah, take them on a trip.
6 grade teachers for one classroom.
It goes to administrative bloat and staffing surges.
I see that looking through school district.
Look at that. Adult and career education. The African American female excellence. I'm not making that up. That's a department. African American male achievement. That's right there. I'm not. That's an actual department. Alternative education, Asian Pacific Islander student achievement. That's the ones that don't matter, like assessment and attendance. That's kind of important. Like the assessment part, attendance part, I got it. But the African American Female Excellence Department and the Asia Pacific Islander Student Achievement Office. Do we need like different offices? We do, clearly. We need all of those offices. And how come the African Americans get male and female, but the Asians don't? And how women, the African American female get the excellence. The male just gets achievement. See? I think we got some genderism here too. We need some more administrators. We don't have enough administrators for this.
Directories. Student.
Yeah, there we go. The equity, Office of Equity, the Latino Student Achievement, the social emotional learning. See that? We need that. Garden education. Well, actually, that sounds cool. Sort of justice. That's in education. Okay.
Enrollment's basically flat, but the number of administrators increased by 95%.
So the students are almost flat. The teachers almost flat. The administrative staff doubled. Where's the money going? It's going to the administrators, and it's going, of course, in New York State, there are some school districts where there are more administrators than teachers. Let me say it again. More administrators than teachers. Because we got to make sure we have the Latino Excellence Female Achievement Department of Equity. That's critical. All right. Mike just threw up. Sorry, Mike. I should have done a trigger warning for you. I did. I should have done a trigger warning. I apologize. I should have trigger warned you because you didn't bring your bucket. I usually tell you when to bring your bucket. I didn't tell you this time. I apologize. You're probably cleaning up some vomit right now off your floor. I apologize. I should have told you to bring the bucket. I didn't. But yes, that literally is a thing. I wish it wasn't, but it is. There's someplace else it's going. They're not. It's pensions. I'm not joking. It's pensions. New York City, 25% of the school budget. Oh, 20%. Sorry, 20% of the school budget goes to pensions. Yeah. Pensions. People who aren't even teaching anymore. People who worse are living in Florida. So you're paying your nice hard-earned taxes here in New York City, New York State, and you're sending that money right to people in Florida to go spend the money in Florida.
Places that have stronger teachers unions had larger administrative bloat problems over
every single time. I remember I did a interview with a guy who was all pro-union, all about workers. And he was mad because in Wisconsin, Scott was it Scott who was the governor there? Basically broke the teachers union in Wisconsin. And he goes, he can't break them. And I said, oh, okay. I don't know. I don't care good or bad about a union. That doesn't bother me either way. My question is, did the students suffer, right? If the union's broken, did the teachers get worse and the students suffer? If they did, then that was a mistake breaking the union, right? Period. That's how I looked at it, right? If the students suffered, then he shouldn't have broke the unions. He said, well, I don't know. Oh, Wisconsin's way better than New York. Wisconsin's top 5, top 10 every year with a broken union. Corey is correct. A broken union actually serves students better. Why? Because then students and families are the customer. That's how it works. Now, there's a way around it. You might go, well, Larry, are you against unions? I'm not. I'm not against unions at all. Never have been. Now, we have to fix it, though. Here's how we fix it. Right now, teachers' unions, they actually negotiate with the governor. Okay, you might go, well, Larry, who else are going to negotiate with? Well, why would you negotiate with the governor? Well, Larry, he runs the state, but it's not his money. That's the problem. For unions to negotiate fairly, and it should be to negotiate fairly, it's labor, right, is getting money. So it has to be your money. Is their labor worth your money? Are their results worth your money? That's how it should work, right? That's any negotiation back and forth. Hey, I want you to give me money. Okay, great. What are you going to do for me? Whatever. You can negotiate back and forth. Makes total sense. In the private sector, that's how it works. When the private sector union is fighting with management, it's their money. So they negotiate back and forth. Makes sense. Women like taxpayer money. Yes. So negotiate with the taxpayers. Public sector unions should negotiate all of their contracts via ballot initiatives. That's how it should work. We should vote for it. You say, but Larry, we'll vote to screw our teachers. Would we? Your kids are there. Why would you screw your teachers? And if you would, teachers suck then. It is already be screwed. I'm just saying that. If you would, I would hope you wouldn't, but if you would. But you know, it wouldn't be in the contract. That 8-page thing John showed us on how to fire a teacher, that shit wouldn't be in there because we wouldn't vote for it. We would literally go, take that out or we're not voting for your raise. That's what would happen. Literally. Parents would go, take that out. We're not having your teacher sitting in a gym all day getting paid. That's not happening. Take that shit out of your contract and then we'll vote for it. Otherwise, you get no raise. And that's what would happen. You would have citizens go, no, we want to give you a raise. We like you teachers. We want you to teach our kids. But this shit's not working. No, that's gone. That will change overnight. And that's a valuable, valid negotiation because it's taxpayer dollars. It's the taxpayers' money. The taxpayers negotiate. Totally fair. But they don't do that because they know. But a second piece that people don't realize, if you actually do that, then why in the world would this teachers union need to buy politicians? They don't need to anymore. The politicians aren't setting up their rules and regulations. It's all being done via ballot initiative. So what does that mean? Why this won't happen? Because then the teachers unions don't have direct power, and all that money, that lobbying that's going into the pockets of all these administrators goes away. If they're not the ones who are putting together my ballot, my contract, if they're not the ones who are voting on my contract, why would I buy them? I don't have any reason to buy them anymore. I have to make sure my local people are happy because they're voting on my budget. So any time and money I would spend will be on making the kids and or the parents happier. Changes the entire dynamic. It would hurt the Democratic Party tremendously because they get a lot of money from teachers unions that would all of a sudden go away. Yep, that's the actual way of fixing this. But that'll never happen unless I become governor. Then it might.
Time because they are insulated from competition. And the best solution to this problem is to make the funding portable, follow the child. And then maybe these administrators, they'll have an incentive to up their game, shape up, or go out of business.
Well, that's a key piece, right? And I spoke about this for my plan for New York a long time ago, and I still bring it up all the time. It is $18,000 per student per year into each district. You might go, but Larry, what if some districts are bigger or smaller? I don't care. Well, Larry, what if I move districts? I don't care. But what if the teachers don't? I don't care. That's what you get, period. You get that. Have a nice day. All those grant writers, gone. All the strings attached, gone. But Larry, people, what if they move? You're not even counting where the kids are. I'm not. I'm counting where the kids are registered in a district. That's it. So if you're homeschooling, you can homeschool, but you must register in a district. That's all. I'm homeschooling in this district. Okay. I'm a private school in this district. Okay. It's fine. Just register in the district. That's it. I'm in this district. Good. Life is good. Just tell me. Cash goes into that district. $6,000 credit goes off if you want to go to private school or you want to homeschool. You might go, well, Larry, why only $6,000? Why not the full 18? Because I still want the people in that district to be able to use the district facilities. I don't want to make communities more diverse. I mean, more diverse. I do. Not more divided is what I meant. I like them being diverse. I don't want them to be more divided. What I mean by that. So you homeschool. Why can't you still be on the football team? Why can't you still be in the chess club? Why can't you still be in the math club? Why can't you still use the school library? Why not? You should be able to. So $6,000 goes off to you to pay for books and stuff like that. But there's still a huge building infrastructure there that your student can still use. Why not? So you go to private school, but you can still play football, baseball, whatever. Why not? Keep the community together. You can still do the same things. The school can still be a third space for the youngsters, which it usually isn't now. It can still be that, even though the kids may be homeschooled or private schooled. That's why I do it that way. Changes everything. Makes everything better. So you might go, Larry, I can't homeschool my kid. I can't afford that. What if you had a $6,000 credit to do so? Be easier. Some people still couldn't, but some could. Well, Larry, I hate my school because they teach the stuff I don't like. Is there a private school nearby? Well, yeah, go there. Well, I don't have any money. $6,000. Well, how much does it cost there? I can guarantee you most private schools will cost $6,000 a year. Why? Because that's the government money. That's what it'll cost. because they love government money. It's guaranteed. Of course. Done. So either way it works. I like that style better than a voucher style. That's what I like. So yes. Grace says, this episode should have come with a trigger warning. It's true. It should have. I apologize. I should have done that. Lunatics like trigger warnings for the program simpletons. Yes, but some of us are programmed so much we can't handle it. Yes. Missy's mad. She goes, that's ludicrous. They sit in the gym all day getting paid. Dang. Yes. We're in the wrong business, Missy. That should be our job. We should become teachers. We get to sit in the gym all day. Should have been a bad teacher. Sorry. Good teachers, they get punished. The bad teachers get rewarded. That's how that works. Lunatics already on board. Fund students, not systems. True. Yes. True. Grace says, teachers will tell you that middle school girls are the worst. It's hard. Middle school is the worst. It's very hard for them. The kids are just, they're in a tough spot, right? You remember, everyone here remembers being a teenager. It's just not easy. It's not easy being a teenager. They are the easiest when they're young, when boys are insane. But yes, middle school is that bar mitzvah age of becoming an adult. Yes. Very true. You are right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right.
If there's choice, the parents will soon see, hey, this school teaches better. I want my kid to go to that school. Yep. And that school's good ideas will spread.
That's exactly right. Competition is a rising tide that lifts all boats.
School choice.
I hope you guys enjoyed that piece. I thought it was interesting. Someone sent it to me, so I wanted to bring it up and talk about it. I do want to keep going down that road a bit. The best way, obviously, is to have the most competition. You might go, Larry, that's not true. Competition, you might feel like what that woman says. Competition is not for people. I don't know why she would say some stupid shit like that, but she did. Here's what you always hear me ask. What type of system do the wealthy use? Right? What type of system do the wealthy use? They use a competition free market system. That's what they use. Why would they? That's how they get the best. That's how they get the best. That's the whole piece. So why wouldn't I want to give everybody an option? But Larry, it's still expensive. It is. But I've spoken about something. Socialism can work amazing when you have someone else's money. It does, right? I got Ryan's money. You get healthcare. You get healthcare. You get health. It's great because I got someone else's money. Ryan's paying. I don't care. He's paying for it. You all can have it. Drinks on Liberty Check. She's paying. All good. Oh, she's paying. I got someone else's money. I'm good. Lunatics paying. We all get private school. Lunatics paying, right? As long as someone else is paying, I'm good. So some of the people some of the countries who've had the best results are those who have sovereign funds. Sovereign funds are other people's money. So what's the best way to pay for things like that? Other people's money. It is. So I've been talking about New York State getting a New York State Social Trust, which is basically, I call it the NIST. It's basically a sovereign fund for New York. Other people invest in it. It makes money. It pays for education. Done. Again, socialism works great when it's someone else's money. It does. I'm not making that up. It's true. If someone else is paying, socialism's great. Okay, there we go. As long as someone else is paying. So let's make that happen. Then. If we're gonna play that game, let's make that happen. Right? If we're gonna play that game, let's make that happen. So Space Jason over on Rumble says, Larry, I live in Suffolk County. I'm sorry. Stupid high school taxes. Yep. $36,000 per year, per student per year. And I have to drive my kids. Wow. It's a great school, but that's wild. I know. Yes. There are some schools out on Long Island. There are some. And you still driving your kids. No bus service. Yeah. Yes. It's insane. It's insane. So anyway, do appreciate that. Thank you for that. I do want to go to, if I could, Instagram. The triangle says, we don't educate students anymore. We support adults' livelihoods, not educate. True. That's true. And most of those people we're supporting aren't even teachers. They're administrators. That's even worse. Yes. 100% true. Yes. It is. Yeah. Any case, let me grab some more of these if I can. Let's see here. Lady McGinnis says, homeschooling is the best choice. I agree if you can, right? And some people can't, I know. But if you can, I homeschooled my kids for 2 years. I agree completely. If you can do it, it's the best. When my daughter went back to school, she was smarter than other kids because I had homeschooled for 2 years. Yes, it was insane. I completely agree. If you can, it's the right answer. Mezzo Megan says, yes, homeschool all the way. If you can, you should. Yes. Tim says, sure, school choice is the way. You pick the school that you want your kids to go to. If it's the appropriate public school, it's free. If it's a private or parochial school or homeschooling, you pay for that or get scholarships, etc. I'm even willing to go so far as to consider supporting the state or county education system financially, supporting an improved health education or civics curriculum for private schools. But the rest up to parents. Your kids, your choices. When you're wealthy, Tim, that's true. And they take it, right? Generally speaking. Sorry about that, guys. All of a sudden I just popped out. One of the reasons why this is an issue, one of the reasons why this happens, wealthy people either go to private school, or if they don't go to private school, wealthy people will sometimes extra support, right? Throw extra cash into their school district so that it has extra money. They'll literally just give extra money to it. That just happens sometimes. So that's a thing. Ryan says, the Bank of Ryan's closed permanently. Okay. Well, I guess we're not getting no cool stuff. Ryan bailed on us. We're not getting all the cool stuff. So there. All right. Anyway, there we go. Phil says, monopoly doesn't work even when you add guns and force. Yeah, but it doesn't work, but it stays in power because of the guns and the force part, right? That's what keeps it in power. So, yeah. Morgan says, something that isn't brought up enough is how much money and bloat athletic departments get. A lot of fat can be trimmed there. The worry about that, Morgan, I think you're correct, but here's the worry. When you try to touch athletic departments, it is such a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's such a third rail because people use it like the world's ending. Like, you hate the kids, sports are important, don't cut my sports. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying it is a, what's I'm looking for? It's a marketing nightmare. You really have to be able to present it effectively. That's all I'm saying. You've got to, you run for school board. You know this already. I'm preaching to the choir. Other people probably didn't know that, Morgan. So yes, you really have to make sure you do it exactly the right way, or you could really be hammered. So yeah. That liberally says, during COVID, I watched a nanny teach 2 kids their schoolwork in under 3 hours while I clean their parents' house. What are these teachers doing with the rest of the time? Yeah. Well, I'll go one step further here. Now we have AI. AI is going to replace a bunch of teachers. I talked about that in another show a couple of days ago. It's going to replace a lot of teachers because why do I require teachers anymore? Already, there are teachers now who use YouTube to teach, right? If any of you have students in school, kids in school, you know that sometimes teachers walk in and go, okay, we're going to learn about so-and-so. They put a YouTube video on. That's the class. That's the thing now, right? And some students get upset. They're like, oh, you watch YouTube videos in this class because that's good enough. And he can then do, literally, he could now do a test on that. Yeah, it's true. That's one of the things that people are doing. I know it seems weird. So, yes. Mike says, I forgive you. Oh, thank you, my friend. I should have warned you. By the way, administrators have increased by over 300% since 1990. That's the single greatest cost besides retirement benefits to unions. There we go. The pensions, retirement benefits. Yes. And education nationally. That's the issue. We're paying for administrators and pensions. That's the biggest chunk. Yes. Mike is correct. That is the biggest chunk. It's the worst one. It's the biggest one of all of them. So, yes. All right. I'll grab some more of this if I can. All righty. That literally says the amount of property taxes that go to schools piss me off so bad. It's a lot. It is a lot. And so, yeah, it's crazy. It's so much, and it makes everything more expensive. And you know what? I don't agree with this, but I know most people would, Liberty Lady. You don't agree with that either, but I'm saying most Americans would. If New York State was spending $35,000 per kid, but we were clearly and obviously number one in education, and we were pumping out rocket scientists out of high school, most New Yorkers would say, okay. They would. Like most New Yorkers would say, all right, fine. I'm getting rocket scientists pumped out of high school, and I'm number one in out of every state. Well, they'd be okay with it. But we're spending the most money, and we have garbage compared to the rest. So yeah, it's not working. Absolutely. So Michael says, my barista was homeschooled. They can never get the name right on my cup of coffee. That's actually funny. Statistically, though, believe it or not, homeschoolers actually tend to do better on standardized testing than tests in general than those who are not homeschooled. In fact, colleges now are literally looking for homeschooled kids. I'm not joking. Colleges are looking for homeschooled because they know they do better in college. Generally speaking, most kids who leave 12th grade on average compared to homeschoolers are not ready for college. That's why college, in many cases, college is the first year of college is 13th grade. And most kids now take 6 years to graduate college. The average is 6 years to graduate college now. My daughter did it in 2, but most do it in 6 now. Because of this point, homeschool kids don't. They do it in 4 or less. So they're looking for it. And now a newer trend is employers looking for homeschool kids because they tend to make better employees. Because most homeschool kids are more self-directed, right? They're more autodidacts, more in general, which means they tend to have more agency, which means they tend to be doing more on their own. They tend to have more initiative. Again, this is a broad brush, so sometimes we're looking for that. The homeschool student is becoming much more accepted and even looked for in the as adults now than they ever have been. Yes, absolutely. Morgan says school choice is the way, not only to diffuse the culture war, but for educational outcomes. One size fits all education is a detriment to students. True. You're not wrong, Morgan. You're absolutely not wrong. Yes, I think that's absolutely true. I agree with that. Yes. All right, let me grab a couple more of these if I could. Let's see here. Okay. You have so many that I want to grab the right ones if I could because there's just so many of them. Gene says, I was halfway through my bachelor's degree program in education when I ran out of money because I was taxed out of business. Oh, that sucks. Now I drive a school bus. The school district I drive for was in the news for not letting parents speak at the school board. I'm not shocked at all, Gene. I'm not shocked at all. That makes total sense. Yes, that makes total sense. Why would they want you to be talking there? There's no need, right? There's no need. You're not important at all. So yes. Sarah says, Larry, did you ever read Jonathan Cazal's book? And if so, what did you think? I really think they were policy influencers. I was hooked on his books. Can you name one of the books? Hold on, let me check. I don't actually know. Hold on. Jonathan Cazal. I don't know. Jonathan Cazal. Oh, American Writer. I see. Okay. No, I have not. Okay, now you just gave me some work now. Thanks, Sarah. Gave me homework. All right, so I got homework now, Sarah. All right, you gave me homework. I will check that out. I'll see. I have not. So maybe I've missed something. I appreciate that. Yes. All righty. Space Jason says, not to brag, both sons, because it's the honor roll. Good brag, my friend. No worries. Good for you. Yes, good for you. I like that. So, all righty. Sarah goes on to say, one principal I worked for had covered up a person who touches people who don't want to be touched, PE, for decades, and involved in all kinds of money mismanagement and safety issues. Fired and hired at a neighboring school district. Of course, now that's a similar issue with police. Similar issue. And the problem is when you have a union issue like that, where unions protect bad guys and spend most of the time protecting bad guys and not supporting the good guys, when the teacher gets fired, they're allowed to resign versus fired. So they're allowed to resign. Well, the guy has a good resume still, so he goes someplace else and gets fired again. There's no record of him being a bad guy because they allow him to resign. They don't fire him and make him look bad. So they're fine. It's just done. It's how that works, right? Same with cops. If there's a bad cop in area 1 and then he screws up or whatever, the unions protect him, and then that bad cop gets to resign and they go someplace else and they go someplace else and get another bad thing. You saw it all the time. You saw it with Chauvin, you see it with others, multiple problems. And we think, God, there's bad cops all over the place. Are there? Or is it the same cop who keeps moving around and keeps screwing up? There's a lot of, when you see a bad cop, it's rare that that cop has like one bad thing. If it's a bad cop, that cop's got 9, 10, 12, 14 different things, different places. Makes all cops look really bad. When you got one cop who's been, hammered 14 times and then got off and then keeps getting new jobs. Happens all the time. Yes. John says, nephew lives in Florida. They homeschooled all their kids, but they participated in sports and drama at the local high school. That's the way it should be, John. That's the way it should be. That's what I want us to do. I want our communities to still stay together, even though they may be taught differently in different places. We should still be part of the same community. So, yes, absolutely. So, all righty. Kim says, competition is only good in the right context. It depends on where you're going with that. There's some, I do a lot of teaching in business, and your point is valid. Very often in business, run by people who are entrepreneurial or entrepreneurs, you will sometimes think that everyone should be compensated in the same way the leaders are, by a cut. Not always true. Not always true. Generally speaking, if you have an environment where individuals compete against other individuals, you often create a dog-eat-dog world where people don't help each other. That's very true. It often happens that way. But there's an exception to that rule, Kim. Generally speaking, when you have groups versus groups in competition, you tend to have insanely good teamwork. They tend to help each other. So, for example, if you're in a business and you have like every customer service rep, try to close deals on people they're servicing, you're gonna have a dog-eat-dog world. They're not gonna help each other. Your customer service is gonna suffer, and you're gonna lose customer service reps who don't like that environment. Things are gonna go poorly. I tell people this all the time. They never listen. What you could do though is, hey, if you have multiple customer service reps, have a team A and a team B, and you grade them all on the results of the team, right? Generally speaking, when it comes to competition in the private sector and business, you reward groups by results, individuals by behavior, right? So the difference is, if you could reward someone like they often do this, he's the salesman of the month or whatever. She's the customer service rep of the week or whatever. And it's based upon numbers, not behaviors. That actually makes things worse. Because Kim, if you're the best customer service rep I got, you're always going to get the best numbers. So why does anyone even bother trying? I've made things worse. You always get it. So who cares? You're the best one I got. But if I change it on behaviors, who was the best teacher? Who was the most liked? Who was the most creative in solving a problem, right? I make it on behaviors and I change it. Other people can win. People see by other things. Results is for groups, because within groups, you'll find people with different skill sets working together to make the group stronger. So there is some value, and it depends on what you're doing. That's what I do as a teacher when I teach this for business or when I consult. I bring these pieces up. So I get what you're saying, Kim. I do. It isn't just let's be dog eat dog. However, there's exceptions. There are rules where there are areas where that does work. What I mean by that is, if you have a business environment where each person is kind of their own business, for example, might be someplace like a real estate office, where each realtor is kind of their own business, right? They have their own admin people, their own everything. In that case, if you all work in the same office, but each your own business, in that case, one-on-one competition can be very effective. Each one trying to outdo each other, and you don't care if it's dog eat dog, because each of them is a separate business model, a business unit. So it can work in that regard. Depends on where you are. So hope that makes sense. Hello, Phil says, ladies' night with Liberty Lady and that Liberty Chick. Look at that. Ladies' night. Didn't realize it was a Wednesday. There we go. It is. Thank you for that $2, my friend. Ryan says, Larry, if I can't have cool stuff, neither can you. What's fair is fair. What's fair is fair. All right. We got to find somebody else to write us checks, Ryan. We got, you know what? Let's get Phil to give us some money. Let's have Phil. Phil's going to buy it all for us. There we go. Everything's on Phil tonight, guys. That's it. Done deal. There we go. All good. I love it. Yes. All righty. Let me keep going down here if I can. I do like that idea. Someone else is all paying money. So, yes. All right. Let's see here. All right. If I go down here, Kim says technical difficulties. Yes. All of a sudden, I just got booted out. I don't know why I got booted out. I just got booted out. I don't know why, but I'm back. And that's all that matters. I have returned you may rejoice. So yes. Sarah says, thank you for being a member, Sarah. There are teachers unions and admin to support staff unions, and they're all ruining our schools. True. True. Absolutely right. Joel says, it seems like people want the school system to raise their kids and watch their kids all day. Well, this is you make a very valid point, Joel. One of the reasons why we have schools the way we do is because we've set them up to be daycare. We set up to be daycare. And I understand why people would use it, but it's the wrong answer. But I get why they do it, right? I've got to work. My wife's got to work, whatever. Okay. What am I going to do? That's my health care. That's my child care. And it's taxpayer dollars. So fine, let it go. I'm paying taxes anyway. Just take them. I get it. So when kids don't go to school, someone's got to be home to take care of the kids. And we've made a system to where it is super hard to have a family with one person working. It does happen, and some people can do it. It's just really hard. And if you have the one person working and there's no other person, like you're a single mom or a single dad or whatever, that's even harder because you're the only person working. And if your kid can't go to school, wow, you got to pay your bills. It's a problem. You're correct. That's how it works. Yes. Kim, again, thank you for being a member. A client of mine years ago homeschooled all their kids, and she could easily cover 2 years of curriculum in 1 year, constantly. Yes. When I was homeschooling my kids, I mean, school was 4 hours a day, maybe 3. Easy. We covered everything in 3-4 hours. My daughter didn't start her schooling until probably 9-10 o'clock. She didn't start 9-10 o'clock. And she was done before her friends in school, in the normal school time, were done. She was done before that. She can go hang out with them all the time. She sometimes would meet them after school to see other friends because she's already done. So I completely agree. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Michael says, I can't stand school administrators. That's because they don't care about us. They don't care about us. That's the issue. They don't. Right? They're not concerned. That's the issue. So Missy says, please drop Larry's name in comments on people you'd like to see him collab with. The more, the better. She's right. Guys, I ask you all the time to do things like hit the like button. True. Please do so. Share and repost. True. Please do so. Become a member. Yes. Please do all those things. And this one's also free, by the way. If you're watching another video, you like some creator, you like some content creator, you like some guy, some gal, and you think that he or she should be on my show or I should be on their show, we should do some kind of collab, put my name in the comments. Hey, you should talk to Larry Sharpe. Do that. I reach out to these people all the time. They don't always agree, but yes, we absolutely do that. So please do that. It will help. It will absolutely help. Yes. All righty. Shelly says, my physics teacher was violent against students. Then he ended his ex-wife in front of their kids. Man. Then the judge sentenced him for 7 years because he had no history of violence. Wow. That blows my mind. I don't want that to be true, Shelly. I would like that to not be true. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't like that. So, yes. Jean says homeschoolers win spelling bees too. True. They do. Yes, it's true. Yep. Sarah says, I'm having a psychic moment and I see all the Sharpies in New Hampshire living on a Liberty commune and homeschooling kids. I have thought of moving to New Hampshire many times. I have. Initially, I thought of going to North Carolina initially. Then I thought of going to Tennessee. And now I'm thinking about going to New Hampshire. I've been bouncing up all around where I'm going, right? What I'm going to do. I've been thinking back and forth. I'm not sure which one, that I've been doing. But yeah, I've been thinking about it back and forth a lot. It's not a bad idea. So Ryan says, Sarah gave Larry homework and opened my bank. Yes, Sarah's being bad today. True. Yes, Sarah, you being bad today. Yes. Literally says bad, Sarah, bad. Yes, you being bad today. It's true you are. But we still love you even when you're bad. It's okay. We still love you. But yes, you are being bad. But now I got homework. I got to figure this one out. I don't know which one. I'm probably going to go audiobook, tell you the truth. Right? I haven't read a book years. Almost all of my books I taken through Audible. But I go through a lot. Like I literally I'm on one of those things where you get automatic credits every month. because I always go through books every month. And believe it or not, my daughter likes actual books. My oldest one does, like literal physical books. And she goes to the library. She has a library card. She goes and she's always picking up books and stuff. Most of the time, classics, which is interesting. So yeah. Jacqueline says, another advantage of being homeschooled is that parents can decide how deep to dive to do on any given subject. The disadvantage is, what are the parents doing to make sure their child is socializing? Yeah, I think that's true. And what I did is I still had to hang out with friends. The socialization piece can be an issue, right? It can be. But to be forward, even within school, kids aren't socializing very well. Right now, we're all struggling to socialize. So I think even if the kid is not homeschooled, parents have to work extra hard to socialize their kids. I think it is a challenge right now. So true. The other issue is now with AI, you don't even have to. I work with both my daughters, my younger one who's still in school and my older one who's out of school now, both of them with AI every day when I can. Try this, do that, work on this, deep dive that. And I allow them to go wherever they want to go. With AI, the parent doesn't even have to be a great teacher. The parent just be a mediocre teacher and make sure that the AI is not hallucinating, and you should be fine. Know where they're going, and you should be fine. Yes, absolutely. So, Lunatic says, and what most fail to understand, you must understand survival without any civility involved, and then ask, are you prepared? I'm not sure that's true. And let me give you pushback on that one, Lunatic. I think that if everything began to collapse, locally at least, people would start to create their own civility. I think most humans know that we survive best when things are civil. Now, sadly, for some of us, that might mean underneath somebody's thumb, which would suck, underneath some guy or gal who's got money or power or the most guns or something. I mean, maybe that could happen. But I think we would wind up creating some kind of civility anyway. I feel like there'd be some upheaval initially. And I think that's what I would say. Are you prepared for? Are you prepared for the initial disruption? Are you prepared for the initial upheaval? But I think once that, whatever that is, I think once that's done, even at a local level, I think we create rules and we create our own civility. We create our own form of respect. I feel like people just do that. You think I'm wrong on that? I think we would. There's an initial whatever, whether that's violent, whether that's not violent, probably violent, but whatever it is, then I think we go back to some form of, I think we want that. I think as humans, we would like to have some, it's why so often people wrongly say, I'll take a benevolent dictator, because they just desperately want civility, even at their own detriment. So I would argue we would still go back to it. There'd be a little upheaval, but we'd go back to it. That's what I think. You tell me if I'm wrong on that. So yes. Sarah says, anybody seen the anti-corporatist and Pinkerbell lately? Many Sharpies are missing action. AC and Pinkerbell, they walked away. Maybe I'm doing bad content for them. They don't love me anymore. They don't come by anymore. I don't know why. Maybe they don't. Maybe I'm doing the wrong stuff. Should I bring Dan back on again? They like Dan. Like they like Dan. Sarah, I gotta bring more lefties on. It's gonna make Mike mad, but I gotta bring more lefties on and bring them back. All right, let me go see if I can find me some more lefties. The problem is lefties don't want to come on as much. The right wing loves coming on my show. Left wing, not so much. I got to bring more of them on my show. That's what I'm gonna do. That's it. That's how I woo them back, Sarah. So when I bring them on, I'll put it up ahead of time, and you can kind of just go, hey, Larry's got a lefty on, guys. Come back home. I think we'll try that. There we go. So, all righty. We'll keep going down here if I can. Matt says, Larry should do a collab with Tucker Carlson. I don't think I've ever met him. I'm trying to think. Have we even been in the same? A lot of these people, I have been in similar like rooms or areas or events with them. I don't think I've ever been in the same space with Tucker Carlson ever. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Wade says, it would be cool if Larry and Javi and Malaya chat. Yeah, but I don't speak Spanish. I better learn some Spanish first. But yeah. All right, I got to work on Spanish now. There we go. Jacqueline says, I like when you appear in the JB Font show, Larry. I love JB. He just had his operation. He's doing much better. I love JB. And the reason why I like JB so much is not because we agree on political things. We don't. He's far more left than I am. But I think JB actually wants to help people. In fact, I would go the whole RBN, which I like RBN in general. I like Sabrina Savati. right? I like the whole bunch. Rome, I like them all. I did a whole show on Rome's on Rome's documentary. So yeah, because I think there are some people on the left who are just jerks, who are just trying to harm or make people feel bad or attack or insult. I think there's a lot of them who do exist. I think the whole RBN crew is not that. I think they actually want to fix things. They actually want to make things better. That's what I think. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they fooled me, Jacqueline. Maybe they have. But I feel that, which is why I like them. That's why I like them. Yes. So, all righty. Let me grab some more of these. Kim says, "Not Tennessee. I'm not a fan of any state that's so proud of." But they're proud of something that's not good. Okay. Now the weird part is I didn't realize how New York I was until I left New York, right? How American I was till I left America. And I knew I was very much New York. But recently I've been thinking, because I've been traveling so much, that maybe I'm not so New York as I used to be. That was my thought process, Kim. Maybe I'm not as New York as I thought I was. But when I go down south, I do feel different. I do. I feel like, yeah, I'm a Northeast guy. Like I'm in Philly, I'm good. I'm in Boston, I'm good, right? I'm in New York, New Jersey, I'm good. Upstate New York, I'm good. Like I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. Like I feel it. West Coast, I feel different. Like when I'm in California, I feel like, yeah, I don't know if I belong here. Like I feel that sometimes. I sometimes feel it. So I know I'm a Northeast guy. I mean, clearly I'm speaking it. I am. But I don't always feel the same. Do I like visiting? I love visiting all parts of the country. But living, it'd be more challenging for me. I think it'd be more challenging to be in Tennessee or North Carolina, California. Be more challenging. Doesn't mean I wouldn't do it. I would still move for the right person. There we go. I would still consider moving for that. I would. But yeah. But that's definitely, but I get your point. It is a little bit different. So yes. Liberty Lady says, programming note, no Sharpe Way show on Thursday. Tomorrow, it's true. There will not be a 7 p.m. show tomorrow, but I will be on the Black Powder podcast at 9 p.m. So you can watch my Facebook or Instagram stories, see the link to that show. Yes, I'll be putting that up tomorrow. There'll be no show here, but I will be on the Black Powder podcast at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Yes. Lunatic says, Larry, you misunderstand. Okay. You must know the lowest level of survival without civility to understand the mindset of why someone's in a headspace. Oh, okay. Yes, you're right. I did misunderstand you. I was thinking a different. Okay. So that's almost like you're saying to understand someone who's in a desperate headspace too. Are you also adding that piece? I could see that too. But okay, a little bit different than what I was thinking. You're right. I did take it the wrong way. You're right. So, all right, let me see if I can grab here. Let's see if I can grab a couple more of these. All righty. Ryan says, Larry should collaborate with Neurotic again and Austin Peterson in the near future. Also, an interview with Thomas Mass would be awesome. I like Neurotic. The problem is we don't really, I like him very much. And we did a show. In fact, I had Mike on a show with him when we did his last show. I did a show with him also over on Chrissy Mayer's twice. So I've done several collabs with him. While he's great, we don't talk about the same things, right? So I guess I could go, but he talks much more about I do pop culture too sometimes. Yeah, maybe I should. Mike's been bugging me. Mike really likes Neurotic. He's been telling me to do more with him. Maybe I'll reach out to him again. That's a good point, Ryan. I think I will. Austin Peterson. He's become like a Republican. I guess I'll talk to him again. But yeah. He's changed though. He was a hardcore Trumpster for a while. Now he's not so sure. He hated those tariffs. Boy, did Austin hate those tariffs. He hated those tariffs. He did very much. Phil says, AI translated interview with Javier. Ooh, that's not bad. Yes, that's not bad. Yeah, okay. Phil says, Larry on Neurotic's perfect fit. Okay, so all right. Okay. I'll reach out to him. I will. I could chat with him if I want to. I'll reach out to him again. I just didn't think it was you guys clearly like the fit, so I'm wrong. Mike's bugged me on it. Now you two guys bugged me on it. Obviously, you're correct. So yeah. Liberty Lady says, yep, Austin is definitely a Republican now. True. Hardcore, yes. But it's fine. I can still talk to him. Totally fine. I can still talk to him. No worries at all. I can still make that happen. Guys, I want to ask you one more time if I could. Click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. The like button does matter. I know I bug you, but it does matter. Also, please remember, if you can repost this or share this now, it's good. It's going to help. Every repost, every share does matter. If you haven't followed me on Facebook, on X and Rumble, please do so. And if you are going to subscribe on Sharpeway YouTube, please make sure you're clicking those all notifications. It really does matter. Every little bit counts. I'm trying to get unbanned shadow type. Trying to, if I can. We'll see if it does work. If you can become a member, of course, I love that. Click that join button. That's great. I appreciate all the rants and all the rumbles. Of course I do. But remember something, though. All right. The algorithm loves when you comment after the live. So after the live, please comment and please tell me what you thought about your schooling experience with your children, if you have children, or yourself if you don't. Your children if you have children, or yourself if you don't. Please comment about that after the live is done. And remember, if this is not live, after the video, after this, right after I'm done, you're going to see 2 videos pop up. Click on one of them and watch it right away. I'll go like that too. I will see you all very soon.